It's not like our VA and the government and all that's there to do it. Really, they don't really do well at that. So
no, the VA is very contrarian to that as far as aiding veterans. So, and Sue knows a little bit about the VA, don't you, Sue?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know something about what facility did you attend out there in Utah? Was it worth?
So it's actually a private place called Deer Hollow Recovery.
Okay.
And my understanding when I went there, it was it's one of the top 2 at the time. Maybe it still is one of the top 2 trauma recovery centers in the nation. And basically, their approach is you don't spend a lot of time with your therapist. What you do is you spend a lot of time in basically a classroom setting, where they explain how PTSD works. They explain how your brain works and how it all works, and they give you the tools to somewhat manage it. Then when you go home, it's, hey, let me work on managing my stuff and getting it all under control.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so your book's ready to come out later this year?
Yeah. Working on some stuff. The publisher's kind of going a little bit haywire, but we'll get through all that. And but it's all just about set to go, man. It should be out. The audiobook's recorded. Everything's ready to go, and just need to put the final bow on it and get it all done.
Well, if you want any help navigating those waters, dude, don't hesitate to reach out. I've got
I probably will.
I've got self-pub. I've got all of that stuff under my belt, and
I've heard my publisher done it a couple of times.
Yeah, once or twice. I mean, and I'll admit, my publisher does not like me anymore. They won't pick up the phone if I call. They do like selling my books, but they don't want to talk to me. So,
well, you kind of skimmed over your survival camp and your Kentucky Expo. Let us know what those are about, so our listeners might.
Well, yeah, survival camp's an event that he's attending, but let's talk about the Expo. When we talk about survival camp, I don't do survival camp.
So Prepper Camp down in Saluda, Kentucky.
Prepper Camp, sorry, yeah.
Saluda, North Carolina. That's the 22nd and 24th of September. So I'll be down there with a vendor booth and shaking hands and meeting people. And then the 28th and 29th of October is the Kentucky Sustainable Living and Homesteading and Preparedness Expo down in Bowling Green.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, trying to get out and meet people and do more now that my PTSD doesn't have me curled up and freaking out when I get in crowds. It's a really good thing to get out and meet people, man.
T, you should go to that and put up a booth for Prepper Camp or for Mountain Readiness.
I don't know if it'd go over so well because I've got some experience with Prepper Camp as well.
No, I meant the Sustainable Living one in Kentucky, not Prepper Camp.
Oh yeah, no, I could probably that one we could probably do.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, we'll be running a clip, I believe, tonight for our up-and-coming event with Mr. Chris Weatherman here for October. And I heard you're open there. You said the 28th you had something, but what about the 21st, 20th, 21st, 22nd?
Who, me?
Brian, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm wide open still.
All right, well, I mean, go ahead, Chris.
No, yeah. If we could get these guys out the Mountain Readiness, that'd be awesome. And
love to.
Brian, one thing I wanted to say was when your book comes out, when it's released, get with me because I'm going to need 100 copies of it, and we'll work out a deal. I'll buy them, and I'm sending those out to my patrons to get that thing spread around a little bit farther and get more people reading it. So
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I like to support the other writers in our genre who are putting out quality stuff, particularly nonfiction stuff, because I think people need to read more of that. And so I get with other writers, I get their stuff, and I send it out to my patrons. So we'll do that for sure. And all right, now, Dale, you're sitting down there being all quiet and stuff. What do you got going on?
Yeah, taking it all in. I don't do the writing stuff like you guys because it takes me 45 minutes to write a paragraph. So to write a book, it would take me forever. I'm more of a run my gums on a video type guy than the whole writing thing. But
we've done that a couple times together. So
yeah.
And so Dale's more of he can read the writing, but he don't write the reading. He's like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can write decently. I can people can understand me after I write something. It just takes me. I'm overcritical and overanalyze, and it takes me forever. So. But I'm building a website right now called the Bug Out Location, which is sort of an online community to learn about preparedness and stuff. That's kind of the stuff I sort of geek out on, is building the websites and doing things like that. I kind of took a break from preparedness for a while because it just, after a while, some of this stuff just kind of gets to you where you just need to deflate your brain a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But recently, the last few years or so, I think that's about the worst thing you can do. So really Brian and I started doing our show together and started getting kicked back into it. And then everything just seems like it's one thing after another these days that, just waiting for that other shoe to drop, waiting for the sky to actually fall. So yeah, just trying to help other people get ready, get prepared, whether that's just starting out or, bouncing things off each other, those of us that have been doing this for a while. And then just, crossing my fingers, basically trying to make sure everything's set here at home before, something big does happen.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier about letting your head deflate a little bit is staying aware and plugged in all the time and following all the things that are in the world going on. And that's just a never-ending list. And you really can burn yourself out. Every now and then I've got to just step away, not look at nothing for a few days. I'm going to do it this weekend. I'm going out of town this weekend just to get away for a little bit. It was going to be to celebrate finishing my book, but I might not be quite there yet. So it's still going to be a getaway.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It is kind of a two-edged sword when you're in this type of mindset, because especially doing this kind of stuff, the social media, and it's about a have to. You have to do all this stuff and seeing what's going on nonstop. I mean, it beats my brain up. I know it got you, and I don't do it as much as you guys do. It's a necessary evil, but yeah, there's times you got to step back and unwind, which it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. The fear for me is I step back out of it and I miss something.
Yeah.
That's the situational awareness. That's your biggest fear, is that you get caught not aware. That's something that just sneaks up on you.
I think the good part about it, though, is like if you're taking care of your stuff at home, there's plenty you can do that doesn't involve what Joe Biden's doing, what the World Economic Forum's doing, and all that crap. If you've got animals, if you've got gardening, all that stuff you can do to help get yourself better prepared. That's a better mind space to be in anyway, and it's going to help you out a lot more than being all mental about what Joe Biden said or tripping down the stairs or something like that. But yeah, it's something you definitely got to pay attention to. But
maybe that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, not get all mental about it.
Well, you follow the trajectory of things, right? You don't necessarily have to have your pulse on every single little item out there, but we all see the trajectory of things. And it comes down to the basics, right? What does it take to sustain life? And if we focus on those things and we're always working to improve in those sectors, then, you're not losing. You may not win in the end, but because none of us are going to be ready for what happens. I don't care what you've got. You're just not going to be prepared for what's coming down the pike. But you're going to be better off than the next guy who was, taking his cruise every year and takes his family to vacation to Disney and is, leveraged to the hilt. My goal, I'm trying to get to be debt free by the end of the year is my goal. I'm trying to have everything that I owe money to paid off by the end of this year. So.
Yeah, that's a good goal, man.
Yeah.
And it could be one of the most important.
It very well could be. And I'm also trying to stack up some more medals, because I've got a feeling soon, with the CBDC now out, that we're going to wake up one day and hear, the dollar is dead, all hail the new digital dollar. And the exchange rate's going to be something like 100 to 1 or 500 to 1 or some craziness like that. And I always figure that if I have PM stacked up at that point, I'll be able to get more new dollars with those than I will old dollars. So
no doubt. I was shooting for the same goal this year, and then I started mountain readiness. Whoops. But
then you did something worse than buying a boat.
Right, pretty much just dump money in. It was like today, this mic's been giving me crap, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll spend another $400 on that Shure mic now. It's Prime days.
There you go.
Yeah, easy come, easy go.
Boycott. I live in Disney, and I live in Florida. I boycott Disney. I don't pay to go to Disney ever. So Ryan and Dale, like, what are you guys tracking out there that you see as the things right now? I don't necessarily mean the little things that are popping off all the time. I'm talking the big things that folks should be watching for and paying attention to and preparing for.
Man, I think you hit on it. I think there's between the central bank digital currency, what's happening in Ukraine. With us bringing in the cluster munitions now, we just keep escalating that thing. So who knows where that goes? And then what happens with our society here, especially as we head in this new election. I think those are the three big things that we're heading into, man.
Yeah, and this election, of course, is going to be no one's going to trust it. I don't care who wins, no one's going to believe it. So, and we can't at this point. That's a sad thing. That's Dale. What do you think about that? What are you tracking right now that you think people should be watching?
One of my big concerns is always gun laws, local gun laws, not necessarily the federal stuff. It's kind of nice. Recently, the Supreme Court has made some pretty, in my opinion, good decisions. But out here, like we were, I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or not, but out here in Colorado, it's going the way of just trying to ban anything, anything down to BB guns or whatever. So that's always on my mind. But when you look at, the larger scale, the things that, have a real possibility of escalating and things, I think you have to look at the Ukraine stuff. You have to look at this push for globalism. All of these things that I think in the next even decade or so are going to fundamentally shift the way you look back to when I started 10 years ago, and I don't know how long you've been doing this, Chris, probably longer than that.
1990.
Completely different game.
Since 1990, I've been doing this shit.
90, no kidding. Yeah. Two completely different games for you. But I think in the next decade, it's going to be, it's just, who knows? It's going to be insane as much as they can track as far as information and data and all that stuff, as much as people are allowing them to just restrict at everything, freedom of speech and all that stuff. It's going to be an interesting world for my kids. I'll say that. Luckily, I'll be in my old folks' home wearing my diaper when this is all going on. But
yeah, that's the thing that bothers me the most is thinking about my kids and other people are like anybody who's having a kid today. I'm just like, oh God, I feel for you. Just the life America. You're gonna have to live it. Yeah, it really is a different America. There's a lot of us out there that are hanging on to those core values and ideals of the past and still respect the men that founded this country went through to pull it off. But they're evil today, and you can't like them. And if you voice any support for them at all, you're a white nationalist, terrorist, racist, bigot, all this other stuff. And it's just a sad state of affairs that we've allowed this insurgency to run unchecked for so long in the country, and they've made the gains they have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
you hit on something. Oh, go ahead.
What do you guys think about the whole Ukraine tried to join NATO and basically NATO said, "Oh, we're not ready for you to join yet." It's kind of like the whole COVID thing. I think all these established organizations and things got exposed during COVID, and everybody's like, "This." The world's not as safe as we thought it was. There's an underlying agenda, and it's not for the people. I always, and I spent almost 30 years in the military, and I retired, and I realized, and I did my staff time, and I realized when I was doing staff and right before I retired, I was like, the government's not for protecting the people. The government's about protecting the government.
Mm-hmm. Government, all governments on the face of this planet exist for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to perpetuate government. Yeah. That's the only reason they exist. Hey, guys, let's take a quick break. We want to run a mountain readiness promo because we are looking down the barrel of that one. Let's run that real quick, and we'll be right back with you guys.
Hey, folks, this is T, and this is Mountain Readiness.
It doesn't matter what the event is that makes this thing go pop. It's going to be water, shelter, fire, food security. That's it. That's what you need in a nutshell.
All right, there's T's commercial. Good job, T. That thing's awesome, man. I do too.
Somehow I really like how that I didn't even realize I was wearing my "I will cut you" shirt there at the beginning.
I thought it was perfect. It was
until after the video come out. I was like, "Whoops!" You know, I should
That's all right.
have my other shirt on. But now,
Yeah,
let's
so-
go ahead.
No. It's I want to get back to the Ukraine thing. I want to hear each of y'all's opinion. T, I want to hear, why do you think we are in Ukraine?
I think we're filtering money the same way we were filtering money before Biden got his position. I mean, that's what I think the Ukraine is. I think the whole thing is a setup to pump billions of dollars and back into the Biden pocket.
All right. Sue, what do you think we're in Ukraine for?
I think it's a distraction. It's a ruse. I think Ukraine and our animosity or our perceived animosity towards Russia is a ruse, and I think it's basically guided by the puppeteers called the People's Republic of China. I think they're trying to keep everybody's focus on Ukraine and Russia while China keeps biting away, eating the elephant one bite at a time, and people are going to wake up and say, "Oh, wait a minute, it's been China the whole time." That's my opinion.
All right. Duff, what do you think, man?
I think after the Panama Papers came out and submarine Panama is a place where all the rich and the powerful around the world could funnel their money and do their backroom deals, I think that they shifted it all to Ukraine. And then when you see in 2014 that that the U.S. government orchestrated a coup in Ukraine, the Maidan coup, and then we sat there for all the years when they came out with the Maidan peace accords, and Ukraine kept attacking the Donbass in spite of the peace agreement that they had. We've been pushing this whole, just pushing this agenda where I think we're funneling money. I think, Ukraine, if everybody looks back to before the war, if you thought of what were the countries that had the biggest amount of internet crime, the biggest amount of human trafficking, it was all Ukraine. Now all of a sudden Ukraine's, they're this great country and everything's wonderful there. No, it's been a mess. Not saying that, Putin's not a complete douchebag, but I think it's, and it's not lost on me that 6 months after we do the debacle of pulling out of Afghanistan, all of a sudden we're neck deep in Ukraine, to the point where we're running out of 155 shells to send to them now, and we're giving them cluster munitions as a result. The military-industrial complex is feeding at the trough like crazy, and we know, I think with you go back to the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX deal, he was funneling a bunch of money through there. That money was getting funneled back into the Democratic Party and the establishment. So, but I think everything that everybody said so far, I think all of it can be true at the same time with what's happening over there. Because we're not getting told the truth about anything that's going on over there.
No, I'll give you guys my opinion in a minute, and it's probably not going to be a super popular one, but if you stop and think about it for a minute, I think it makes sense. What do you think, Dale? What do you think we're doing in Ukraine?
I was just going to say what Brian ended that on. I was going to say that everything that's been said so far is an absolute possibility. I think there are things going on that we don't even know about, that they don't want uncovered. There's a gravy train they don't want to stop. There's the military industrial complex. My thing is, I don't know if Zelensky is like in on the game or if he's being used by, NATO and all those guys as kind of like a puppet, like that, the little nerd you bring along just to, because he's got the nice car or something. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things. I know it's not what they're saying it is, though. There's a whole game being played that we're not privy to whatsoever behind the scenes. That's going on.
My personal opinion is that it's a multi-level thing that's occurring. The Democrats and the crooked Ukrainians are all seeing this as an opportunity to move money around and hide stuff. Zelensky's defense minister shows up one day in a brand new Bentley. Zelensky's parents buy seaside villa in Israel. All this money that's moving around. So they're all just profiteering, in my opinion. But I think the big reason that we're actually in Ukraine is that the powers that be, and I don't know who it is, you can call it whatever you want, deep state, Rothschilds, what the hell ever. They want to destroy Russia because Russia, and not for reasons to think, the reason they want to destroy Russia is standing in front of the globalist agenda. When you look at the laws Russia passes, they're not into this trans and binary thing and all that stuff, and they toe the line on a rather conservative kind of lifestyle. All right, they don't embrace a lot of the Western ideas and stuff. And to the globalists, that the fact that Russia's doing that is a huge problem to them, and they need that out of the way. Yep. So go in and we start this uprising in Ukraine. We topple their government, and the United States crooked partners and the Ukrainian crooked partners all see it as an opportunity to make money, and so they're happy to be in the dance. They just don't know who's playing the music. That's my opinion. And as far as China, I think China's just capitalizing on the moment. I don't think China's the target right now. I believe that Russia is fully the target for everybody that's looking at a bad guy on the planet. And they claim Putin's an evil. But if you look at why we're even there, Putin told NATO no admission for Ukraine, which they don't qualify for still, and no regional nukes in Ukraine. And the global community got up on their chairs screaming, who are you to tell another nation what they can or cannot do? And it's just like, wow, how soon we forget history? Kennedy and Khrushchev, anybody remember that? We were ready to go to nuclear war over the exact same thing, but yet we're telling him that it's not okay for him to say it. So it's the double standard thing. And I just think that the overarching powers that control things here, the Agenda 2030 guys and the WEF, whoever you want to look at, are the ones that want Russia out of the way. That's my personal belief.
Well, I think they're using it as a test bed for a lot of stuff too. Like they're running the digital government has rolled out in Ukraine, right? And they've been running
digital ID, digital currency, the whole thing. And who did that? Who put that in place in Ukraine?
USAID.
USAID, yes, exactly.
Yeah, USAID.
So that's their test bed. You're absolutely right. That's the test bed to bring it here.
Bring it here. They've rolled it out in some African countries now.
Yep.
In Ukraine, that if you want to get any services, you want to get anything from the government, you have to go to your app. I mean, they're locking up religious people. They're locking up anybody with dissenting opinion. It's,
canceled elections. That's not very democratic. They canceled elections. So everybody, when you see these folks with all the Ukraine flags in their bios and everybody's up there screaming, rah, rah, go Ukraine. To me, it's unfortunate, and it's a little sad to think that folks are that easily led and gullible. I mean, and I'm all for the Ukrainians defending themselves. Yes, they were attacked, but they brought it on themselves. And Russia's fighting dirty, as Russia will, but that's Russia. We know what they're going to do. And so the whole thing about the cluster munitions, we never signed that treaty. The U.S. is a non-signing, didn't sign the cluster munition treaty, and Russia has already been using them. Mm-hmm. So I figure if you're in the business of killing people, you need to use the most efficient method of killing folks, and cluster munitions will get it done, on open infantry and entrenched infantry.
Well, and what they're saying with it, right, is the cluster munitions are going to help. They're going to make the difference in the offensive that they pumped up. They blew smoke up everybody's ass for the last, 4 months. The spring offensive, the summer offensive, and the offensive's not getting anything done because they've run out of people.
Yeah, Sue, I know with your experience, did you ever see the videos or the stills of that field of armor? There was 2 Leopard tanks, several Bradleys that were all smoked in their initial counteroffensive, in a big heat too. I don't mean spread out. I mean, these things were physically touching each other in some cases where they smoked them all, bragging all the while about all the NATO training that these crews had received. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. I don't, I try not to harp on it too much because right up to SHOT Show, I thought I was, going to go over there, and I thought I was going to make money off of this and everything. And I got sick right after SHOT Show, and I'm like everybody here on the panel I just kind of woke up when I was sick, and I was like, I got to stop chasing this pot of gold, and I am playing right there with the military industrial complex and all these munitions and this ammo development that I was working on. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me or to, for protecting my family or my community. So I kind of fell out of it, and I don't pay attention to it too much. But what I do see, and I see everything going towards a drone type thing, more of a dehumanizing of the war, and I think the casualties are being are being not inflated, but I think the casualty rates are being ignored, and even with drones and with your cluster munitions and your missiles, missile strikes and things like that, people tend to forget who's doing the dying. There's a lot of civilians that are doing the dying. And
and Ukraine keeps a tight lid on all this too. They don't give casualty counts. They restrict any sort of media coming out of their troops. And I've seen a few, and there's a lot of Ukrainian troops that are really unhappy. They talk about being thrown in with no training and poor equipment, just like the Russians do. They've got their penal battalions that they send in human wave attacks. And from the sounds of things, Ukraine is still doing that to a degree too, and also abandoning troops on the field. Like if they find themselves in an untenable position, depending on who the unit is, Ukraine may just be like, it's not worth going to get them, and we'll just let them go. I watched one yesterday, a video where Russians dropped leaflets on a Ukrainian position who were trying to infiltrate, and they got smoked pretty hard. And the Russians dropped leaflets on them, and the Ukrainians called the Russians on the radio to surrender. And again, propaganda. But the Russians, I got to give them credit, were true warriors in this respect, and were gracious in accepting the surrender and telling the guys what to do and what not to do, and how they were going to be approached and everything. So it's never what we think it is in these situations.
That's what I was leading into. I mean, I just heard about the Russian or the Ukrainian women wearing their uniforms that are 4 times too big and everything, and I wanted to scream out to whether it be social media post or a blog or something saying that these women are just being put in uniform for propaganda and for the show.
Yeah, because every time you see them, they're in pristine uniforms with brand new kit and brand new weapons that don't have so much as a spot of mud on them or anything. And it's obvious what that is. Let's
and then that's what I noticed was all we're talking about the military industrial complex and all these big companies. Well, they said, well, these small companies, you'll get this money and you'll get that money. None of that money, and I was just part of it, and on both a drone program and a munitions program. None of that money ever dropped. That tells me that all the money is going somewhere else. This is just propaganda. Nobody's spending that money on the troops. The troops on the ground aren't getting the equipment or the training or the munitions. They're really not getting it. I don't know where it's going, but they're not.
Let's take a quick minute, Sue. We're gonna run another quick. So, guys, after this show, we have the after show where things get a little bit looser because we don't have to worry about YouTube monitoring us. So we're gonna run a quick little shot for that, and then we're gonna be right back.
For those of you who are viewing this podcast, you're in luck. 3 of these ugly men have grown beards. Haven't had enough yet? Stick around for the after show. Bolder, grittier, angrier. On the Rocks with Angry American and the Gang is coming up next.
Oh my God, I fucking love that, Sue. I can't watch that enough times.
That's pretty cool.
That was great. That was awesome.
That is so good. That is
exactly what I had envisioned when we talked about this. I mean, to the T. Sue's voice, just throwing it out there. It's like, man, yeah.
It is so freaking good. It is so good.
I would say something really, really repulsive and vulgar if we were on the after show right now, just about Sue and his voice. But I'll hold off for another 25 minutes.
Yeah, just give it a little bit. And guys, don't forget, hashtag survival gets you in the giveaway to win RFID block wallet money clip kind of combo. I hate carrying big wallets, and this is what I use. So we're giving one away tonight, and that's it. Hashtag survival. We'll be doing that towards the end of the show. So you bastards have to stick around to see who wins. So. And if you're not here to see who wins, you don't win. So Dale, like moving forward, we kind of discussed some of the crap that we're all in. Where is your focus? What are your personal focus at the moment? What are you looking at improving, or what your situational awareness is telling you to pay attention to this, or whatever it is? Where are you at right now?
I think it's mainly, you had touched on it earlier, the financial aspect of it, because that just frees you up to do so many other things. Easier said than done a lot of times. We've got the house. That's the big one right now. But along with that, going with the house is, finding a better location. because to do the things that I want to do and to get to the point that I want to get to, I don't know that this is as much as I love the state, I don't know that this is the best place to do it. There's a couple things that we've been looking at. As soon as Lisa retires, we'll be a little bit more free at that point. But I want more property. I want to be able to go out in my backyard and shoot when I want to shoot.
It is awesome to be able to do that. I'll tell you right now, that is my requirements for a place to live. I got to be able to shoot and piss in my yard.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
So
if I get enough property to do that, maybe raise some animals other than just, the small, chickens and things like that. Get more as self-reliant as I possibly can, I guess. I know you can't be 100% self-reliant, but just keep moving.
Uh-oh. And there he goes.
Keep your internet going well too.
I was gonna say he's talking all that shit about Colorado. Colorado's just like, no.
Yeah, they shut him down.
So it's shut down in Denver now. So when was going to hit North Carolina? I got a few hours before everything comes through, it looks like. So all right, we'll see you guys later.
Did you see that there's going to be that they're saying that you're going to be able to see the Northern Lights in 17 states here tomorrow night?
Oh, because of that solar storm that's blowing
the
through?
solar storm coming in? Yeah.
I did not.
Look, when I can see the solar lights here, I'll start to worry. Or the Northern Lights. When I can see them in Florida, I'm going to start worrying, guys.
Yeah, right.
That whole teetering on the axis thing really comes into play at that point.
Yeah. So Brian, same question then. Like, where's your focus? What are you looking at? I mean, I know you got projects and a move ahead and stuff like that. And you're moving. We didn't even mention that. You're moving to Texas, right?
Yeah, relocating down to Texas and going down there, getting back into some, I think that the battle lines are being drawn at this point, and this is stuff we all kind of used to tiptoe around, but I can't not see it coming down that way. So I want to be in an area where I know it's of like-minded values. But I think too, right now, like we were talking in the show, there's so much happening is that you need to focus on keeping your head calm and keeping your head about you, right? Because it's so easy right now to go down any one of the things that we have going on in the media on most days these days would be something that you would hear about for weeks, years ago, right? Like we have major things happening all the time. And so I think there's so much, it's trying to keep your head down and keep your head chilled, because the more you go down the rabbit hole of biting into it, right? The more you're kicking in your sympathetic nervous system response, and the more that's hijacking your decision-making process. And right now your decisions have to be as effective as possible. So I kind of think trying to keep your head chilled out, and we do all this preparedness, try to live a good life around it, right? Try to, like you said, you're unplugging this weekend. Hey man, unplug from this stuff. It's not like you're gonna miss anything major,
It'll still be here when you come back. It'll still be here when you come back. And that's a good point. That's a good point.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, I say that the phrase I like to use all the time is I tell people, don't forget to live for today. Exactly. For tomorrow, but you have to live for today. And you still do need to take some vacations and do the fun things, because someday you're going to need those happy memories to fall back on when you ask yourself, why am I still trying? Because it's going to get to that point for all of us to have a feeling. And when you're going to ask yourself, why am I still doing this? And you're going to be able to remember that time with the family and the friends and the things, and be like, that's why I'm doing it. So you got to live for today. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to, Biden's still going to be shaking hands with air tomorrow. Ukraine's still going to be going on tomorrow. China's going to be going on tomorrow. The inflation's not going to get any better tomorrow. It's all going to be here. So take time, enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, because all this prepping you're doing has to be for something. It has to be for living a better life, ultimately.
Oh, yeah. But did you hear inflation is at a 22-year low now? And if we blame Biden for the inflation, we have to give him credit for the decrease. Just like unemployment's at a historic low, but some of us remember when they juggled the inflation numbers and they took out all the important stuff like fuel and utilities and groceries, and the same with unemployment, when they stopped counting everybody who gave up looking for work and all that stuff, and that was never corrected. So it's the myth of we're improving. I love the Bidenomics memes and some of the things you see on Twitter and stuff, where they keep coming out saying we're doing fantastic, and they say it with a straight face, and I guess a lot of people believe it, but I don't believe it at all.
The people that believe it will believe anything that comes out of that administration. So it doesn't matter how true, And unfortunately, I think those are the same damn people that'll believe anything that Gavin Newsom has to say as well.
Oh yeah, they absolutely will. Yeah. Okay, because the left, their mantra, in my opinion, their mantra is, "I have spoke, therefore it is so."
Yeah.
Like you can't argue with them once they say that's a woman or inflation's good, unemployment's low. No cocaine was found in the White House. Merrick Garland is an unbiased attorney general. They say those things. You're supposed to go, "Oh, okay, he said so, so it's a fact."
Men can chest feed your babies now.
Chest feed, Jesus.
Yeah.
And
what country was it that I just saw?
You're not just have a different opinion these days. You're actually dangerous. You're actually one of those people that need to be ostracized and chastised and cast out and all that crap. That's where it's going these days.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely do, because I think it's been 10 years ago that I put forth a proposal that all men should get circumcised and have their nipples removed at birth.
At birth.
Look at a whole nother level there, a whole nother step.
Yeah, that would eliminate half of the problems that men go through, I think.
Yeah.
Right. If you could chest feed, then we could figure that into our bug out plan, right? Like I wouldn't need to carry as much food because I be able to milk myself.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't possess enough chest still to be able to pull that off. You guys maybe
cup at best.
And I still, the other side of me is I refuse to use their terminology. Breastfeeding is breastfeeding. It's not chest feeding.
What country was it that the trans just won the beauty pageant?
Oh,
Netherlands.
Miss San Francisco is a man. Miss San Francisco in the U.S.
No,
the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. That was it. The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Miss San Francisco is as well. Is a man. That's how. Like, you got to wonder, like, how far can this lunacy go? Like, I watched a video on Twitter yesterday where a guy who says he's a woman the whole video was about he wants a uterus transplant, wants to be the first dude to get one. That way he can get pregnant and then have an abortion. That's
what?
Like, yeah. That's where people's brains are these days.
It is. You can't even make this stuff up. It's so demented.
I mean, I write fiction.
Become so demented. Yeah,
truth is always stranger than fiction. So,
where are you at, Sue, with the? Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think you could get away with paying a man who is trans? I don't do the trans woman. It's a man who's trans, paying him 70 cents on the dollar, right? Because they say we pay women less.
So Carl comes to work one day and he's now Clara, and they're like, "Oh, good for you. You're here. You're so brave. And by the way, we're taking 30% of your pay from you. Yeah, you're a woman now. Sorry."
I mean, the government does it. Why not?
How misogynistic is that? Where men are now like, "Hey, I can be a woman better than you can be a woman."
It has set the women's rights thing back decades because. There's been some comedians that have done some bits on it, about the women were getting too much. So now, well, I'm a woman too, and you can't deny it. And that's how they act. Like, just because I wake up one day and I say I'm a woman, that's an indisputable fact now. And you got to think about how deep that went to get that idea so ingrained into our society now that you can't even refute it. You know, as far as society goes, you can't argue the point. You can't say nothing about it. You just have to go with it. Otherwise, deplatformed, unemployed, and all these other things that they threaten you with.
Yeah, well, when I was in high school, I was a swimmer. I was getting real good at swimming, and headed towards the Olympic Games. I was there in Colorado Springs, where Dale's at, not far from where Dale's at.
Mm-hmm.
We were training there, and I remember the female swimmers on the team. We were worried about them having to go up against the East Germans. This is 1980 when we weren't allowed to go to Moscow. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. But we were worried about the East Germans cheating because they were using male enhancement testosterone to get bigger shoulders and bigger muscles, and they were beating all the other women. Now a man jumps in the pool excuse me, with a one piece on, and he wipes out the entire female swim team. It just it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It does not make sense.
I saw an MMA fight, and
and
it's like, look, I'm not an equality person. No one's equal. All right. They just aren't. No one on this show is equal. It's what makes us individuals. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. But to stick a man who cut his genitals off with a female in a fight, and the guy pummels her. I mean, he just beats her to pieces, and he's jumping around and so happy that he won. I'm like, what? It's a whole nother level of sickness right there in itself.
Yeah.
How could
not only you're proud to beat up a girl,
beat up a woman?
Yeah, you're proud you beat up a woman. That's so sick. Like the comment I just stuck on the screen. I don't know if you guys see it. Did you hear about them wanting to call the vagina a bonus hole? Now,
yeah,
have you guys heard that? Did you?
Yeah,
we did a show came
on
up with that.
you
did? All right. A bonus hole. They want to call the vagina a bonus hole. This came from a woman's cancer group.
Yeah,
that put that out, saying that maybe we should just call it a bonus hole.
A bonus.
Like how much farther are we going to degrade women to allow men that want to pretend to be women in that club? Because I guess they do. I guess you could call it a bonus hole if it's on the trans ones, because it wasn't there to start with, and they went out and bought them whatever you want to call it. It ain't nothing that it's supposed to be.
Well, what if you called it a boneless hole?
I mean, a cut and tuck. I don't know.
Well, Rush Limbaugh used to have the joke about an addictomy. Now we're going the other direction. It's not.
Yeah, just the opposite.
I need to think of something off to just channel my inner Rush, because I loved Rush. We'll have to come up with a new one for that.
Yeah, well, I'm missing Angery on this show, because that's what he usually
you
does.
can really. Yeah, you're missing someone to beat up on, right?
Yeah. Whenever he beats up on me, he's like, "Oh yeah, I beat him." Okay, I'm 20 years old and I identify as an old man. So you beat me. Okay.
Angery is a full-grown child, and we all know that.
Yeah. He's the best woman I know.
That beard, though, she's got a beard on her.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look at a few comments from some of the folks watching. And Christy here, NATO confuses me. They have a military. Where are the soldiers coming from? I've never heard of an American soldier being part of it. Christy, we are part of it. We're actually the bankroll for NATO, and our troops do get stuck on it. You're thinking UN and blue helmets, but yeah, we're all part of NATO. We're the financiers of NATO.
That's the Northern Atlantic Treaty Organization. Yeah. So it's an alliance of mostly European countries after World War II, where we joined with West Germany and other European nations to stave off the Soviet Union, Chris.
Yep. So when Putin says he doesn't want NATO on his doorstep, now we know why. So, and then a huge part of the payment or the permanent U.S. debt is government entitlement, including retirement benefits. The unfunded liabilities. Oh, the multi-trillion-dollar question right there of how we intend to pay for that as we're circling the drain.
That brings up the whole thing about, how long can this go on? Because, again, like I said, been doing this for a decade, and this was my main concern back then. It just keeps going and going and going. So,
well, I mean, it's easy to do pay the retirements, right? Because you just make up money out of thin air, right? It's not like we have a budget that's balanced where they're actually, hey, we got to make this much money to pay the retirement. They just, let's go put some more ones and zeros out there, and they press a button.
Or there's an actual finite amount of currency that can actually exist because we have an actual currency and not fiat money.
Exactly.
So, there's that too.
Modern monetary theory, man.
Yeah. Well, modern monetary theory is hopes and dreams, I think, would be the best way to look at it. So. Brandon says, we're there to keep the military-industrial complex going now that we left Afghanistan. Nailed it. Yeah, that's a big piece of it too, brother. You can absolutely guarantee that.
The truth be known,
I think
Biden probably
Africa's next.
sold most of our equipment. No, you're good. I was just going to say, I'm sure the Biden family probably sold most of our equipment to there in Afghanistan as well, pocketed some of that change.
Oh, no. The Al-Qaeda or the Taliban, whoever the hell's running over there now, what do they want to call themselves? They're putting out videos of all the stacks of cash they keep finding. I mean,
Right.
Millions.
It just
and
happened to find it. You know, I have the same problem. You know, like, oh look, there's another $1 million sitting on my doorstep.
Well, if you guys remember, Dick Cheney on TV said we lost $1 trillion in cash there, and we don't know where it went. We lost it. Yeah. And back when that occurred, I did some research and everything, and saw a physical representation of what that much cash looks like. And it's more than a C-5A can carry. You know, the biggest transport planes we have can't carry $1 trillion once in one trip. So the idea that we lost $1 trillion in cash there is a bit absurd.
And it's more than just the cash too. I mean, it's the stuff that when I was doing military acquisitions, there's a whole bunch of stuff that is shoved down the troops' throat and the officers' throat. I shouldn't say just the troops, but no, like it was already mentioned at the beginning of the show, where all of our 155 shells are about gone. Well, there's a reason for that. They want all the old 155 shells to be gone, so the military-industrial complex can get the new 155 shell, which is a GPS guided shell, which doesn't work that well, but it costs about, I think the last I checked, it was like 17 grand a piece, you know, versus the $400, you know, after everything said and done in the shipping for a 155 shell, 400 versus 17,000. It's just ridiculous. And
and Ukraine's throwing them like Mardi Gras beads to Russians. So.
Yeah, if we really wanted to get rid of the military-industrial complex, let's take a hard look at the Department of Defense, where there's 750,000 government service workers. That's more than the people we got on active duty in uniform in the Army and the Marine Corps combined. So if we would get rid of 35% of the federal workforce, which is the military-industrial complex, I'm sure the troops would get what they want. You know, but it's a nightmare. It really is. It's a bureaucratic nightmare that was created well after World War II and has been going on for decades.
Politicians don't want that gone.
No, that's their slush fund. That's their slush fund. And you look at the pipeline from political office or a job in the administration straight into the private sector as a consultant or as this or whatever. Or lobbying, which is another one. I think there should be a law against any politician ever becoming a lobbyist. Just like there should be term limits on senators and everybody else, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother debate. It's like Nick here says, there's so much brainwashing going on, and then some doctors give them drugs to help them, and they get more psychotic. You know, and we usually find out later that they were under the care of a medical or a military psychiatrist too. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I just saw something the other day too about Ozempic or something. They're talking about how there's been cases where it's causing suicidal thoughts, and I know that's a big shocker, a drug that causes you to want to kill yourself or something. But I mean, that's it. There's a pill for that. Is a huge problem, not only in this country but everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta put this up just for the hilarity of it. There we go. The manhole. It's not a bonus hole. It's a manhole. Oh my God! Wow.
Right next to the cornhole.
I saw another video of a dude, and he wasn't even a good version of a pretend woman. He was a really bad one, but he had a manhole, and he was really mad that he could not find a gynecologist that would give him an exam because he needs to have his pap smear done.
Yeah. I think that's the most embarrassing part internationally. When we look at the transgender males here in the United States, it's not that they don't even try. I mean,
no, a lot of them don't.
No, compared to
look at Thailand. I mean,
lady boys
over there. I mean, you just come on. I mean, let's put forth a little effort.
So when I went to Thailand, go ahead. I went to Thailand years ago. I went to Thailand years ago, and I asked the taxi cab driver, I'm like, how can you tell the trans or the katoys, they call them, from real women? And he's like, if it's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, it's a dude.
It's a dude.
not in LA though, is it?
No. I just wonder if those dudes with the manholes, that's a little gross, but how do they handle hygiene? And it just pops out and they can shower off and then, and it goes back in.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that comment is hilarious on a couple levels and probably offensive on a couple levels too, which makes it hilarious because you're calling a quote unquote chick a man, and then you talk about their manhole. That's absolutely fantastic.
And then the fact that they could and invert it so they could, hose it off or whatever they need to do after they've been with another man. And I know that you're not supposed to say these things. I don't give a shit what they say about stuff like this. In the UK now, it is illegal to use the wrong pronoun for somebody. You will go to fucking jail if you do it. And that's what they want here.
I think they just put some law similar to that in Michigan, didn't they?
That the Supreme Court's going to strike that shit down. You cannot do that. You cannot compel
Not yet.
Another person. No, you never can. All right. And anybody who allows it to happen to themselves, that's when you got to go to the mat for. If they show up to arrest you, look at the officers and go like, guys, I'm sorry, you should take the day off and not do this. Otherwise, it's going to be a long fucking day for all of us and I'm not condoning violence, but you cannot compel an individual to perform on behalf of another individual at their expense. So if I disagree with it or I don't want to say that, you cannot force me to say it. And that's just it. You have to say these things. They have to force you to say them. Just don't disagree. There are things in this world that I will absolutely go to the mat for. That's one of them. You're not going to tell me what I can and cannot say.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, I think Ukraine is a mirrored image of what we have to look forward to here in this country as time goes on if it keeps going the way it's going.
Well, and then when I was flunking out of college, I was a prison guard there in Winslow, Arizona, and I figured out not that I graduated college, but I figured out real quick working in the prison that anal sex smells like crap. And
it's a poop smear.
Get us to the after show quick.
So if it's a manhole, I don't want to be sniffing it.
I got a line for that that I'm gonna use as soon as we come into the after show. Real quick though, we want to do our giveaway, guys. It is giveaway time. Let's see who's gonna be the lucky winner of a wallet tonight. Put all that money that the government don't want you to have in it. Here we go. And this is cool the way it works. It selects it itself. We don't have to do it. I like it. Drum roll. It's like the Price is Right wheel. Slows down. There we go. Aunt Chia, you are the winner. Can we put Russ's contact up there so they can reach out to Rustaford? And we will get, there we go, Russ@AngerAmerica.com, and email him, and we will get you set up and get your stuff shipped out to you. All right, guys, we're going to switch over to the after show where we can continue this conversation with a little less filter because it's way more fun that way. But if you hung out and watched this long, guys,
not if it's a manhole.
Not if it's, you're going to be neck deep in it. You know you will. Hit the like button on the videos. It does mean something. I hate being the guy that says that shit. Hit the subscribe button too. That helps us out as well. And check out Brian and Duff's sites, guys. And I got to look at them again because I read too much shit and I can't remember. So, mindforsurvival.com is Brian Duff's site. If you will need to get mentally prepared, you need to get your head right. That's the spot to do it. A lot of good reading material there. And then Dale's site is the survivalistprepper.net. And I saw you pop up somewhere yesterday online, or it might have been today, Dale. Someone mentioned you like in comments. They're like, Survivalist Prepper's here on another video I was watching. I just thought that was cool. But follow those guys too. Hit their websites up, check them out. Real quick, but Brian, you got anything else you want about where people can find you, something you got coming up, places you might be, where folks can come see you, that kind of thing?
Oh, you're muted, Brian.
You're muted, Brian.
Sorry about that. Hit me up over at mind4survival.com and follow me over there. Get all that. And I'll be traveling around the country a lot this year. So I hope to link up with everybody and maybe see at the Mountain Readiness there.
No, maybe. Yes. You're coming.
Come on. So, yeah, and the next one's going to be good. It's there you go, hanging out. This is going to be more of a hangout. We're going to have a few classes, but it's going to be more of a hangout, socialize with like-minded individuals and network, which is what this is all about.
Hell yeah. There you go. Dale, what about you? Where can people find you, and what do you got coming up?
Well, I got the main website you already talked about, survivalistprepper.net, but lately I've been working on the Bug Out Location, which is a membership website, sort of a preparedness community, the BOL.net. That's where a lot of my focus has been at lately. And then me and Brian do the Sunday night show, the Survival Preppers, where we've been relegated to Rumble because we are not YouTube friendly. But it is a very fun show, and it's fun. We just get on and basically talk shit for an hour, so it's great.
I like the BOL concept you guys are going with. You're going to learn how to bug out so you don't have to. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So guys, you can jump over to Rumble. We're going to be on there doing the after show, the On the Rocks, and we appreciate everybody watching and hanging out. And we will catch you over at Rumble. And you guys know the drill. Be good or be good at it.
We the people are definitely pissed off. Haven't had enough yet? Stick around for the after show. Bolder, grittier, angrier. On the Rocks with Angry American and the gang is coming up next.